everybody, and in today's video we are going to be going over back pain. All right, let's get into it. So you want to learn how your back actually moves. What are the different planes of motion it can move in, and what are the different movements that it can do? Because if you're familiar with the use it or lose it concept, this is exactly what the body goes through. If you use that range of motion often, then your body will keep it and improve upon it. But if you don't use a certain range of motion or a movement pattern often, your body will discard of it. They will get rid of it. It's trying to save energy and be as efficient as possible, right? So what you'll need to do is really know what planes of motion that the body works in and what different muscle groups do, right? So basically your back can do a couple different things. Number one, it can do flexion. So flexion is going to be like this, right? Coming forward, flexion, flexion. Right? Then, number two, it can do extension. So now we're going back. So back extension, back extension, back extension, right? So when we go into flexion, ideally we want to at least get the fingertips to the ground. All right? So here you can see a couple of different things can stop you from doing that. If you're not able to get into flexion all the way over here, a couple of different things can be bothering you. Maybe it's not only your back. It can also be in your hamstrings. It can also be your tight calves and tight feet. It can also be some neck tightness because you won't be able to curl all the way in here and reach down. So you won't be able to do that, right? So if you're having any sort of problem going into this motion, you can't only think of things that are going to help your back out, because your back is only one part of that motion. All right. Next one you want to make sure that you're able to do is extend. All right. So you want to be able to go back like this. So extend. So ideally over here, you want to kind of be able to get your knees over your toes when you extend. So you're here. You're going back. All right. So when you do that, what's going to happen is that you need to, number one, open up all of the muscles in the front of your body. So whether that be your abs, your chest, your shoulders, those are different things that you need to work out.
Workout video?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. So you definitely need to make sure that that you open up everything in the front line. You can also have a tight neck. So all the muscles in the front of the neck, your SEM may be tight. Some of your scalenes may be tight, and that won't allow you to fully extend your back. Also tight lats as well, right? So so then after that we have, so after flexion and extension, right, we also have lateral flexion. So lateral flexion is your ability to go side to side just like that, right? And in lateral flexion, a lot of times if it's hard for you to bend to this side, right, you can have some restrictions here, but also you want to check the opposite side. So if it's hard for you to bend this side, usually it's this side of either your abs or maybe your QL, your lats on the other side that will be restricting you from bending in this motion, because that's what's stretching over here, right? So obviously we have two sides, so same thing, right? So lateral flexion. Then you'll go into rotation, right? So rotation is here. Now, because of rotation, right, what you want to do is you want to open up multiple planes of the body as well. So you opening up your chest, you opening up your back, just merely being able to actually rotate side to side is going to help you either alleviate some of those tight muscles or just get your nervous system and body reintroduced to twisting side to side. All right, those are the three. So basically the three different planes you can work in is frontal, sagittal, and transverse, right? And transverse is the rotational. Frontal would be the lateral bends, and then sagittal is you being able to go front to back, right? So that would be the flexion and extension of the back. So those are the different ways that you can move your back. Make sure that anything you're doing, you want to make sure that you're able to actually move in those planes of motion. All right. Ideally, when you turn, so if you're turning like this, I'll put my back to you guys. If you're turning, you want to be able to turn your shoulder further than your other shoulder, right? So this back shoulder, you want to be able, or actually, ideally when you're turning, right, you want to be able to be about this far. So maybe get your shoulders in line. You could even get your front shoulder a little past, right? And then you would do the same thing on the other side, twist to the other side, and you would assess the same thing. All right? So that's kind of where you want to be in terms of rotation. So in flexion, you want to be able to touch your toes, or touch the ground in front of you, right? That's ideal. The next one is in extension. You want basically your knees to go up past your toes, right? So I'm here, my knees are coming up and maybe past my toes, I can't really see, but they're at least coming up to, right? And then in rotation, so the transverse plane of motion here, right? Right? You want to be able to turn. So I'm here, right? I'm trying to get this front shoulder past my back shoulder when I'm twisting to the other side. Same thing, I'm trying to get my shoulder twist past. And how you would do that, you cross over here, and you're turning and turning. Obviously, if you have a restriction on one side, you'll feel like or if you have some sort of imbalance on one side, you'll feel a restriction, and then you'll know you need to practice more rotating toward one side. All right? So those are the different ways that your back moves, and then I'll go into some different movements that you can do to open up your back and the surrounding muscles that will allow you to then go into flexion, extension, and rotation a bit more easily. All right, so now we're going to get into a couple of different drills that you can do to improve your flexion, right? So we want to open up the hamstrings first. And my favorite way to open up the hamstrings is to put one heel on the ground and stick the hips back. Now on this one, and also on any stretch, you don't want to stretch your ego, right? Meaning that just because you can get far down doing this thing right here, that's not necessarily getting the best stretch on your hamstring, right? In this one, I don't care how far you reach down, I care how far your hips reach back, all right? So your heel is on the ground and reach the hips far back, and you'll start to feel a stretch in the hamstring. Even those people that are very, very flexible will still be able to feel that same stretch in the hamstring just by sticking those hips back, all right? So that's one way to open them up. Also, we want to make sure that we get the calves, right? I like to do it on the wall, but there are no walls out here, right? So I'm going to put my hands on the ground, and then I'm going to keep the heel on the ground. So I'm keeping this heel on the ground, and I'm just forcing the heel into the ground and shooting my hips back as well. All right, and for all of these exercises, I like to do one of two ways. Now, before I'm doing anything, I like to do dynamic, right? So dynamic means I'm moving. So in the first one, I like to go just like this. Hips go back, so then I take 3 steps out. 1, 2, 3. Same thing on the other side, and I keep walking down. I don't go for a specific amount of time. I just go until I feel everything kind of open up, all right? And then for the calf opener, right, you put your hands on the ground, and this one, you're marching. Basically, you're marching in place, trying to get the heel down to the ground each time, all right? That's the dynamic version. The static versions, I kind of just showed you where you would just hold here, right? And those ones I like to hold for about a minute, all right? And whenever you're stretching, you want it, on a scale of 1 to 10, you want it to be around a 7. It should be slightly uncomfortable enough to make some sort of change, but not too painful where you're wincing and you're kind of tightening up your body, because otherwise you won't be able to stretch anything, all right? So the next one, to open up the rotation, right? You're simply going to rotate. My favorite one for this, or I'll give you guys two, is reaching across the body. Now, when I'm reaching across the body, you can arbitrarily do this just like this, right? But what I am consciously doing is I am reaching as far as I can so I get to this point, and I'm almost trying to create separation here between my shoulder, all right? Where it kind of fits in here. So I'm reaching here, and I am pulling back with the elbow over here. So I'm reaching here, I'm getting a stretch here, but I'm also contracting the opposite lat, right? And then I switch, same thing on the other side, and I'm reaching, reaching, reaching. Another one that I like to do, I have my hands just like this. I reach to this side, and then I reach to this side. Reaching side to side, right? I'm really, really reaching as far as I can over here. All right, what that's gonna do is gonna help your lateral flexion, also to help rotation, because it's still, again, moving around, moving the rib cage around. That's really, really what you wanna be able to do is this thing right here, right? Being able to move your rib cage, right? While keeping your hips relatively stiff. They're gonna move a little bit, but you want to be able to move your rib cage, have the freedom to do that, right? One that I really, really like, it's kind of, a lot of people consider it kind of weird, and when I do it in the gym, everybody's like, what the hell are you doing? But believe me, this is going to help you out so much, especially if you have back pain, and you'll be able to notice where your back is not used to moving, where your back feels uncomfortable moving, where you need to strengthen, where you need to lengthen. All right, it is called, what we're gonna do right now is called a spinal wave. All right, so what did you say? Is it okay if I watch and see what you do? Yeah, sure. I don't care. Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do right now to open up the back is a spinal wave. All right. So you're pretending that there's a wall in front of you. If there is a wall, then it'll be much easier. But what we are doing is we're reaching to the wall with your chin. Then you're gonna go with your chest, and then you're gonna go with the hips. Right. So just going in and out, just like that, in a wave. Right? What that's going to do is going to help you open up your back. So not only your lumbar, but also your thoracic and also your neck. So you're trying to make as much distance from the wall at each one. So you're coming forward with the chin again, and then your chest is coming towards the wall, and then you're going to bring the hips toward the wall. Now when you get better at it, right, it'll be more of a fluid pattern. So you're coming in and out, in and out. Very, very good warm up. Again, I said it's kind of weird, but you guys, once you do it, you will never go back. All right. I like to do those maybe about 2-3 minutes at a time. And once you get better at it, I'll put more advanced videos out there where you can kind of go side to side and really, really get into opening up your entire spine, being able to move it in all directions. Hope that helps you guys out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Make sure you subscribe so next time when I come out with a video that's going to help you out with your back pain, help you increase your performance, help you overall feel better, you'll be the first one with the exclusive content. The exclusive, you'll be the first one.